Khun Thepchai, and the situation of COVID-19 in China is perhaps full of alarm again, in which Chinese authority has to pay a close look. Today alone, the new cases are 17 new cases, the highest since April 28th. And they are full of worries whether second wave will be coming back to China. And right now we have Khun Nad Bunnag joining us.
Hello.
Hello, Khun Nad. So what's the latest situation in China? Are they going to have second wave of coronavirus outbreak?
So possibly there might be a second wave of COVID-19 in China because, like you said just now, that they found new cases of COVID-19 in China already. As of yesterday, China reported 17 new COVID-19 cases, which is the highest daily increase since 28th of April, just like what you said earlier. And the new cases are actually there are actually imported cases as well. So seven of them are imported cases. So many people are worried that the resurgence of the COVID-19 cases in China are actually imported from overseas. So that is the big worry here. And what is even more concerning is that in Wuhan, which is the former epicenter of the outbreak back in late last year, is that Wuhan actually reported 5 new cases, and all of them are locally transmitted. And it's also the highest in 2 months since 11th of March, now is 11th of May. And it's the first cluster of cases since the lockdown was lifted a couple of weeks ago. So that's not really a good sign here. And what is even more alarming is that in northeastern parts of China, especially in the city of Shulan in Jilin province, saw over 10 new cases during the weekend. So besides this, all nearby provinces are also seeing new cases as well. So it's a possibility that we might be seeing the second wave of COVID-19 in China, especially the most concerning part is the imported cases here.
So does it mean that the imported case is something to do with Russia, as you mentioned, Northeast China, and we know that Russia is now having lots of infections each day. Is this interrelated?
Experts are suspecting that it might be the case, but we might have to look at other cases as well. So like you've mentioned, that northeastern parts of China, especially in Jilin province, borders Russia and North Korea. So Russia has a lot of cases to begin with, and North Korea, despite that they have 0 cases, but experts suspect that there must be much more than that. So yes, there are concerns that the new wave of the virus is going to be in northeastern of China, especially in the city of Shulan, which has been classified as high risk, which is the highest of the 3-tier zoning system. So right now, northeastern parts of China are on high alert at the moment, especially in Shulan, where they've already placed a lockdown. So all public places have been closed down. Residents are forced to stay at home, as well as the public transport has been suspended as well.
Certainly not only China, which been reminded of second wave. South Korea, Singapore are also mentioned that have to be careful of second wave. So what the situation in other countries in Asia?
We'll start with Singapore first, because Singapore is already experiencing the second wave of COVID-19 here. So far, they already had 23,000 cases already compared to last month. Right now is much more than that. And as of today, they already found more than 486 new cases as of today. But the whole situation in Singapore at the moment, they are already ramping up with contact tracing, restrictions on movement, and even deploying robots to encourage social distancing in the country. Other countries that are very we can see that they managed to control the situation despite having huge risks of the second waves are South Korea and Hong Kong. So South Korea and Hong Kong managed to flatten the curve at the moment, and they are now easing their lockdowns, and people's lives there are almost back to normal now.
So, Kun Thepchai, it's everywhere now that has to be careful of second wave of coronavirus.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what is happening in China and several other countries, this second wave thing is a good reminder for us that we can never take things for granted. And absence of new cases or continuing declining the number of new cases is no guarantee that we are getting things under control. Because as long as we don't have the vaccine, then we can never be sure that we can have things under control.
Hopefully around mid next year, we might get the vaccine. So let's keep our fingers crossed that we might get a vaccine by that time. But anyway, because we are seeing second waves in many countries and China are seeing new cases at the moment, it's also a good reminder for us that we still need to be aware of the threats of COVID-19 to all of us. And that is also a good study for Thailand now that by the end of next week, they might be easing more restrictions. So these countries like China or even like Singapore, these are the good case studies here for the government to reconsider whether it's worth it to ease the lockdown.